So, episode 2 of the in-person conversations. Today we got Jaden with us, JV, half of JV and Biggs.
Yeah, treasure. These guys, they got the brains, they got the knowledge. We sat with them earlier on, and I didn't expect to learn so much. Learned so much from these guys just talking. It's crazy, learned a lot, man. So they've definitely got a lot of knowledge that they need to give to you guys. So stay tuned for that.
That's good to hear.
This one's bound to be a good one.
Yeah, always. And I love what I saw because I checked out your Instagram. Yeah. You're funny.
Yeah.
You're funny. And good writer, yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So today, I wanted to bring the topic of weed. It's popular in our area, I think.
Yeah,
popular
culture, yeah. Everywhere you go in like that, in cities, I think weed is rife. Everyone's doing it. The guy that's on the streets, the nerd, whoever you want to categorize, yeah, they're all doing the weed.
Yeah.
Or some sort of drug. Anyway.
I think weed's the main thing that we see around here, isn't it?
Why do you think weed's the most popular drug that people are using these days?
Well, around here probably because it's cheapest. I think it's popular in this, like for us, I think in other places they're probably doing like cocaine.
Yeah,
it goes up the classes a bit.
Yeah,
I think, but the weed's the most, I've seen the most, and it's normalized from a young age. Like it's normal for kids to be smoking weed. Like when you're a teenager, it's normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's something that it's just been ingrained in. It's not even just this area. Birmingham, London, in most cities, isn't it? It's in the culture, and people don't see it too much as a drug, as an actual drug, but I think it is, and I think it's gonna affect people in the long term, and it's not in a positive way.
Well, you can't be at your best whilst you're constantly under a drug, can you? It's not possible. If your brain is constantly being altered. Your cells are being destroyed. Your brain's constantly under attack by this drug that's constantly attacking your mental. That's what it's physically doing. You're not going to be at your best of potential. You're not going to reach your best potential whilst you're abusing it. I think that's as simple as that. I was saying, why is it so popular? Because I believe that it's so popular because there's a massive misconception that I think needs to be pushed, that needs to be taken away. That weed is not bad for you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing you can't, like you'll hear it, so like you can't die from weed, or like weed. People don't see it as bad. Do you know what I mean? They just see it as nothing. Like I get high, wake up, and I'm the same me. And they think that cycle goes on. They think they're just going to be the same. Like it doesn't really affect them outside of the high. That's a big misconception that we believe growing up, and a lot of people believe.
I agree, and the thing that sort of scares me is that when I speak to my mom about this, she's like, "Yeah, I've seen it all before. Like this is just a repeat of what's happened in our parents' generation, like, and it's still happening now." And then there was people that are gonna turn into the people that is in my parents' generation that just did drugs and smoked or whatever, and then they've turned out, however they've turned out, not good, and it's just gonna repeat itself, and it's gonna keep repeating itself until like I think we start to understand why everyone's going to weed. Like it's the first resort, like in a problem, in a crisis, like it's so available, it's so normal. And so I wanted to bring it to you, both of you, get your takes on it, because I'm sure you've had the experience with you as well.
Well, what I find interesting about it is that what you're saying is it's normalized, and it's a city thing. I'm not going to be a hypocrite, I've smoked my weed when I was younger, and what concerns me is that, as you were sharing earlier, that it seems so harmless, right? But what I would say to that as well is there are a good few things that are very bad for you and that are not being villainized. That soft drink,
Yeah.
That Coke, that Monster energy drink, and whatever Red Bull.
Yeah.
Sugar is really, really, really bad for you. Yeah, and it's not being villainized. And in British culture, alcohol is also not being villainized.
Yeah, that's true.
And there is zero amounts of alcohol that is good for you, but like zero, right? There is less bad, the purer you go with vodka and those kind of things. But still, it kills brain cells.
Right.
And the same for weed, as much as there are CBD oils and stuff, you waking up in the morning and having the habit and need to get high because that's how your day gets going. Again, it's a dependency. Yeah, like okay, you need water, you need food. You don't need to be high. Yeah. You don't need coffee to wake yourself up. Yeah. You don't need a joint to wake yourself up. Yeah. There are way more healthy ways that you actually benefit from during your day that are not damaging in the long run for you. But I'm fascinated by the idea that it's so normalized in your area where you guys are living and where young people go like, oh, but it's, I'm not doing coke, so this is fine.
But it starts off small. Like it don't start off like you need to wake up, but it almost like 80%. Yeah, it's just full. Like let me not get it wrong. We've smoked weed as well, plenty. Like plenty. We're not judging or looking down. We're just saying there's a problem. Like you speak to people who are older and they've been smoking weed and they can't stop at this point. They say that they wish that they never. So I'm thinking, why not listen to them? Like they've got a valuable opinion there. Like they have been down the path that you're going, and they wish they never. And you've got an opportunity to stop. I think it's very normalized. I'm not sure why.
I'd say it become. From my opinion, from obviously I'm young, but it come out a long way before me. But in England, like seems like the music had a big influence on has a big influence on weed. But even before that, just that culture that maybe Jamaican culture or something had a big impact on weed in England. But I'm not sure. I'm just speculating. I'm just thinking of. I'm thinking of, when you think of programming now, when you look at the songs, everyone's smoking weed, and it's been like that for a while. I guess that is an influence, and you look at the culture. Or for example, cultures that like Jamaican culture, which has heavily influenced culture over here, is a culture that's very very involved in weed smoking. But then there's other cultures as well that are heavily in weed smokers that haven't been influenced by Jamaican culture, say. But I'm aware that Jamaican culture impacted England culture a lot, and you can see that through the way how we speak, from the way how by a lot of things, by the music, by our culture. Just look at our culture. Look at the way we greet each other. You have a white man. Jamaican culture had a big impact on England's city culture. Maybe that helped to push the weed to the fourth to be the primary drug of the thing. I don't know. Just speculate.
No, I see what you're saying. I think it's probably a factor.
Yeah.
Definitely plays a part. Same in the music. You're right. Like in the music videos, it's almost cool to smoke weed. Like in the songs as well, it's cool to smoke weed. Like you smoke weed. Like it's something that's pushed like that, and that it's all part of a big problem. But it's an issue that I don't like to see people go down, man, because I don't think it's gonna end up well. Like I said, when I speak to my mom, when I speak to people who have smoked weed for their life, there's never it's very rare to hear a positive story from that. You know what I mean? From someone who's been doing it. So yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult one.
It's tricky. It's another addiction, you know, and another thing to depend on for you to function.
Yeah,
You know, just like your coffee and your energy drink.
yeah,
Like, if you need an energy drink to get yourself going, you need to ask yourself a question. You know, why am I so tired? Am I not sleeping well?
yeah,
You know, um, do I struggle with waking up? You know, or do I have an energy deficiency? Right? You might need to have your blood checked. You know, you might be low on iron or other nutritions. And go, okay, I need to work on that rather than putting caffeine and sugar in my body
yeah, yeah,
or weed, to get myself going. Because you were designed in such a way that
You
if
don't
you
need
sleep
anything, do
well, you eat well, you wake up in the morning, you're good to go.
you? Yeah, you're ready.
What do you say to those that use the weed as a coping mechanism for their hardships?
Mm. Yeah, again, it's a mask, it's like you get high, just like any other drug, it's a mask, you know. You're not dealing with the actual issue. And you're masking it by like, okay, so this is going to make me feel different. Cool.
Yeah,
But now I
exactly.
need that because the moment this wears off, those feelings are still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you go to therapy, coaching, counseling, whatever, to deal with it so that you can live without having to suppress pains from the past or current pains, whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's sort of was my situation when I was smoking weed. And I remember I spoke to you. Remember I called you and we spoke over the road.
Yeah.
You're the first person I spoke to about like what I was sort of facing, what I was dealing with, because I was using weed to just escape how I felt because I hadn't actually faced it and dealt with my problems. So instead of doing that and it sort of reached a point where the cup was spilling over and I couldn't like keep suppressing it, pushing it down, using weed. And that's when I spoke to Jaden over there in the car, and I just told him like, yeah, like I don't know what's going on. Like I've been smoking all this time. Like this isn't really me. This isn't something I do, but I've had these problems. I haven't dealt with them, and I think that's why, like I was explaining, and yeah, that's literally what I was doing because I couldn't face my actual issues. So then after that, when I stopped smoking, I think it's been like 2 years, over 2 years now. Um, I could actually sit with my problems and what was causing me to smoke and resolve that and dissolved it. So I didn't feel the need to go back to smoke again or ignore or suppress anything. I just faced my issues, but it's difficult. And like you were saying, I was using it to deal with my problems, but I wasn't dealing with anything. I was using it to run away from my problems. So I didn't. I was in a different state mentally and physically, so I didn't have to deal with them, and everything would still be okay because you get the high from the weed. So everything's okay. I feel good, and I don't have to face my problems. Seems like a win-win, but it's not. It's not because, like you said, similar to caffeine or sugar, and those things are drugs as well. You can get addicted to those things, but with weed, you can get addicted to it, and okay, with the caffeine, there's physiological effects and the sugar as well. But with weed, I feel like there's a psychological effect that it has on you. Like it can lead to schizophrenia, can lead to all these problems, these mental health problems, and that is what I feel people underestimate. Like it's not going to happen to them, but if you carry on smoking regularly all the time and say you're suppressing issues as well, using it as an escape, and you're doing it that frequent, those problems are multiplying, quadrupling. They're just going to get worse and worse. Yeah, like it does have psychological impacts in a long time, but it's ignored, and that's why it's so normal. Like people just use it. But yeah, I feel trying to raise like awareness on that. Like you're not just getting high for free, having fun for free.
Yeah,
Like it
the
comes at a
cost.
cost, and
Yeah,
it comes at a
I
cost.
think I encourage people that smoke to listen to people that have smoked for years and years and years, the
Yeah,
long time smokers, because I've not met one of them that say, "Oh, go and smoke weed." They're all, "Don't
yeah,
smoke weed. I don't want to be like this. Don't." Well, you see the people that are new to it, or even think they've been smoking for long, but really in the span of time, you haven't been smoking for that long.
yeah,
You haven't felt the effects yet. But you see, as you keep smoking and the addiction gets worse now, and you're 5 years into smoking, you're really going to feel the effects, but you're going to really be stuck. So I
yeah.
encourage people to listen to the older people that smoke and listen to what they have to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
And but everyone thinks that they're, you know, it's on me. I'm not going to be
Yeah,
affected. I know myself, but but everyone needs to understand that everyone thinks like that.
yeah,
Everyone thinks it, on me. I'm going to be
yeah.
fine. Like, I understand myself.
You
Like
are, you
I'm
are
not like
you.
them. I'm
Yeah.
not like them. I'm me. But you understand, everyone's
Mm-hmm.
got this spotlight effect kind of
Yeah.
thing.
You are you until you're not anymore, and then you wake up and then you
Mm.
can't.
As the older person in the room,
Yeah,
what you just said, I've heard so many times.
yeah,
I've heard so many times, and not only with weed, but also with other substances,
mm-hmm.
where people believe that they've got it under control. And I'm talking about suicide, murder,
Yeah,
you name it. You know, there's a that kind of denial. I don't know the good endings of those.
mm.
All of the cases is the moment you start saying those words, you're down a very slippery path. Yeah, I don't know anyone who said that, who now sits and goes and still says that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah, that's the first step of recognizing that you've got a problem. I've got it under control. I'm different. I am me.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Too many
yeah,
times.
yeah. I think this conversation in itself is valuable. Someone's watching and they feel like they are this person. Maybe they want to change. You're trying to quit, like maybe asking yourself if you're avoiding any problems. Maybe that's something you could ask. See if you're running away from something with the weed or whatever drug it may be, even possibly.
My
Yeah,
tip would be replace it.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna
replace
say.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard
replace
a
it.
lot of people that try to quit weed. I've heard, "Dude, I've got nothing. It's boring." Like
yeah, that's true as
once
well.
they've already been smoking and now they don't. It's like, what? I've got nothing to do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this void
Yeah,
missing when they stop smoking.
exactly.
That's a
Replace
good
it.
point.
Yeah. So find something that you can be passionate about.
Mm.
You know, whether that is sport, educate yourself, whatever it is. You know, like your 15 minutes of reading. Yeah, you could wake up in the morning and be high for as long as it lasts, or you could dive into something. Yeah, or you could go like, okay, you know what? Every morning I wake up, I go to the gym,
Mm.
I go do my tennis, my boxing, or whatever it is. But replacing is the easiest first
Yeah.
step, I would say, because you can't take something away, stop doing something, because then there's going to be a void,
Mm-hmm.
and that void is going to be filled. There's so much other bad stuff that can just go into that void,
Yeah.
and then you replace the joint for something else that's not beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
So think of something that's constructive, good for you, doesn't harm you.
Yeah. That's good advice. I think because I agree. Yeah, that's what I hear. People say, like, "Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do in my time?" So yeah, exercise is a good one. Get a little endorphin rush out of that as well. Sort of a win-win. But yeah.
Yeah, or go paint, whatever, be an
Mm-hmm.
artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember
Anything.
that you lived fine before weed. you as a person before you,
Yes.
or any
That's true.
drugs. You lived normal and you didn't think nothing of it.
Mm.
You'll get to that stage. If you want to quit, you'll get to that stage again eventually. And just remember that there is that stage, and there was that stage where you lived your life completely normal, didn't even think about it.
Mhm.